Good afternoon. We'd like to call this meeting, the regularly scheduled meeting of the Kingman City Council, to order. And we'd like to have a roll call by our city clerk, Meredith.
Mayor Miles.
Here.
Vice Mayor Watkins.
Here.
Councilmember Mello.
Here.
Councilmember Nelson.
Here.
Councilmember Samily.
Here.
Councilmember Scott Staley.
Present.
Councilmember Walker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation tonight will be given by Pastor John Ramos of the First Southern Baptist Church. I would like to ask everybody to stand. Then after the invocation, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Our pastor is not with us, so if we would stand and just have a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Of course, once again, I'd like to thank all those who are present here in chambers and also all those who are participating via Zoom. And welcome again. First, we have on our agenda awards recognition of our Citizens Academy, and we will turn some time over to Manager Foggin.
Thank you. I'm going to use this fancy handheld mic since our handheld is not working, so I apologize for that. It is absolutely wonderful to be able to have this recognition. We are so pleased. We started out with a desire to have a Citizen Academy back in 2019. We had that meeting all set up and ready to go for March of 2020. And here we are in 2022, pulling it off. So it is absolutely a pleasure to have done this, and we've had what I would say a great kickoff group. We are so excited to be recognizing all of you tonight. And I just want to say that when we started and envisioned the Citizen Academy, we wanted to give citizens an opportunity to learn more about the services that we provide, what it's like within the departments. I want to thank my team for all that they did to put on the Citizen Academy. It worked really, really well. It gave us the foundation to continue to offer this to citizens into the future. So tonight we have 11 participants that we want to recognize that completed the sessions, and we have a certificate and a shirt in which to recognize you with. And we want to also, as part of this, we want to have you introduced, and we want the council and vice mayor to shake your hands well for participating. Obviously, we hope that this is something that we continue for years and years to come. We do have plans for kind of an alumni, Citizen Academy alumni program, where we bring everybody that has gone through the program back each year to give updates and just to recognize you as former recipients of recognition through this program. So with that, we would invite the council members, vice mayor that are here to come down, and have asked Annie Meredith, city clerk, to read off the names of each of the people that we are recognizing today. So we haven't really planned this out too well, but if I can get the elected folks right here, that would be wonderful. And when we're done handing out the certificates, we would like to have a picture. So once you get your award, if you will just stay up here, it would be appreciated, and then we'll snap a couple of pictures that, of course, will go on Facebook to encourage others to do the same. So with that, we'll get started.
All right, is Amy Berry with us this evening? Becky Fossen. Longfeather Fox. I do not see Mr. Fox with us this evening. Lori Gannett. Falana Huber. Amanda Kamen. Roger Levin. Philip Netzorg. Sarah Palmer. William Ressig. Cherish Samily.
I have to say a quick word that Councilor Samily had actually signed up for the program prior to running or in anticipation of running for city council. And so she was good enough to join us through the program and actually said even after serving as city councilor that it was beneficial. So
There's two more. Norman Umberger. He is not here. All right. And last but not least, Morgan Wilson. That's you. Okay.
Vice Mayor, I'm going to say something to the group. Is that okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that's a fabulous looking group. And I also wanted to just thank everyone that participated for taking the time, because that was every Wednesday night, I think, for about 3 hours. And it's a huge commitment. And it's so important to have an informed electorate. And you've already shown that dedication. And I hope you'll all consider future volunteer or elected positions, because you're putting the time in. But regardless, you're still you've just added to the good government that we can have in Kingman and do have. Thank you, Ron, and all the staff for putting it on. It's exciting.
You are very welcome. It was a pleasure.
Once again, thank you to all of you who participated in the Academy. And of course, I love that color of shirt. That's an amazing color, just so you know. We also have a proclamation for Arbor Day that I would like to read. Whereas in 1872, Arbor Day was declared a special day that was set aside for the planting of trees, and was first observed by the planting of 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling cost, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas the city of Kingman is dedicated to the planting of trees in our community in order to support our environment and bolster our quality of life. And whereas the city takes pride in being environmentally sustainable in numerous practices and processes, and encouraging residents to do the same. And now therefore and I'm reading this for Mayor Miles, I, Jen Miles, Mayor of the city of Kingman, Arizona, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 29th, 2002, as Arbor Day in the city of Kingman, 2022, I'm sorry, as Arbor Day in the city of Kingman, and urge all citizens to celebrate at the 150th anniversary of Arbor Day event on Saturday, April 30th, 2022. And further, I encourage all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. And it's signed by Mayor Miles. And so this great proclamation, are there anybody from the Arbor Tree organization?
No, Vice Mayor, you will be presenting that to their group
Okay.
at their Arbor Day event, but
Okay.
they had also requested that it be read at council.
Be read in council. Okay. Thank you, Clerk Meredith. Number 2 on our agenda, call to the public. Comments from the public. Those wishing to address the council should fill out request forms in advance. Action taken as a result of public comments will be limited to directing staff to study the matter or rescheduling the matter for consideration and decision at a later time. Comments from the public will be restricted to items not on the agenda, with the exception of those on the consent agenda. There will be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Comments should be limited to no longer than 3 minutes. Clerk Meredith, do we have anybody?
Vice Mayor, we did not receive anybody requesting to join us via Zoom, nor were any write-in comments received. We do have 2 request forms for this evening for people in the audience.
Okay. First, we have Lynn Thompson and Melody DeMaio, if they are present, if they'd like to come up.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members, and attending guests. I am Lynn Thompson Kinney. I'm a 6th generation Kingman kid and a daughter of the pioneer of Mojave County. And this is my friend Melody DeMaio. She's also a lifetime resident of Kingman. And we'd like to address an issue. Power pole was set in the ground down on Grandview Avenue. And I'm going to turn this over to Melody, and she lives in could be a historic little cottage bungalow on the corner of Silver Street and Grandview, and that is in our Kingman Downtown Historic District. And this power pole happens to not go in compliance with the other existing power pole easements, and so that's what we'd like to address today.
Hi there. We, the people of Kingman, Arizona, have to make sure that our historic district remains the same. Kingman Historic District includes the area on Grandview Avenue from Gold Street up to Copper Street. Grandview Avenue is a significant part of our historic district. There has been a lack of understanding of the historic significance of Grandview Avenue. This avenue is over 100 years old and is named Grandview for the Grand View. Unisource added a power pole in the middle of the block between Gold and Silver Streets instead of following the original route of the power poles in the easement alley behind the houses of Grandview Avenue. Unisource cannot compromise the historic location and distinctive, beautiful, majestic view on Grandview Avenue between Gold and Silver Street. This is very important to Kingman's history. We must preserve, conserve, protect, and all we have left of Kingman's history, including the Grandview that Grandview Avenue is named for. The new power pole does not look right. It is an eyesore, and it compromises the sunrises and the sunsets of our own Purple Mountain majesty. This is an important part of Kingman's past that we must preserve for the future. And I'm just asking the council to look into that. I've spoken with Unisource, and I don't know if they're going to do anything about it. But the power pole needs to go where the original power poles are. They made a new power pole in the middle of the block that needs to go where it goes around the existing ones in the easement in the alley. The alley's not even used. That's where the power poles need to go, where the existing ones are. They need to replace those, not add new ones. And that's it.
Thank you,
There
ladies.
is a folder for you
Yeah,
to,
there's-
you
you
to
could-
have and review.
There's pictures. We have pictures of the sunrises and the sunsets, the amazing ones, actually.
Okay.
And it's compromised completely, and it doesn't do very well.
Once again,
Thank you for your time.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you. Actually, Manager Foggen brought that to my attention earlier today, and I did drive by that on my way down here.
Mayor,
and-
Vice Mayor, you
Yes.
can't really talk about that. You can just direct staff.
Right, and I was
look
going to
into
direct,
it. Oh,
and so
okay.
that's where I was going with this. And so, anyway, it is your concern has been noted, and we are turning that over to Manager Foggen and his team, his staff, the city staff, to take a look at that and talk to Unisource.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Second, we would like to invite Mojave County Supervisor Travis Lingenfelter.
Good afternoon, Mayor Miles, Vice Mayor Watkins, councilors. It's a pleasure to be here tonight as your Mojave County District 1 Supervisor. I just wanted to come over and talk a little bit about our shared groundwater issues and advocacy. I wanted to thank all of you for your support, and also Manager Foggen and your staff. Recently, we've been pretty fortunate. We've had a reporter from the Arizona Republic. He did an article on Mojave County's groundwater situation. It just released yesterday. So I thank you for that. We invited over Manager Foggen and his staff, Rob Owen from Public Works. We had a really good discussion at the county building with that reporter when he was doing his story. And then just yesterday, we had a lady by the name of Courtney Holmes, a reporter from ABC 15. She was in town all day. I couldn't meet with her in the morning. We had the Board of Supervisors meeting, obviously, but was thankful to be able to arrange Manager Foggen and his staff to meet with her. As I understand it, you guys had a really good morning discussion, and then I was with them from like maybe 1:30 to almost a little after 6, talking about the new pistachios and showing them some of the water drilling rigs that they have out there. So that story is actually supposed to drop tomorrow on their ABC 15 station. And I have to say that she was floored about what's allowed in rural Arizona when it comes to our groundwater here. She's going to try to put together and get aired up to a 4-minute story on what we're experiencing up here. So that's going to be positive press for us. But as we are right now, with the legislature still in session, a lot of you know that the governor's office is pushing something called the Arizona Water Authority. As that was presented, there's nothing really in there for rural. So we're still working with Regina Cobb, Leo Biasucci, Sonny Borelli, and many others to push for perhaps, if they do a special session on water, which there's talk about that, to push that RMA legislation as well. So really just thank you for the team effort. We have to keep up the fight, and we'll get as much done as we can this year, and if we don't get it done this year, then we'll go back next session too. So, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Lingenfelter. We appreciate all you're doing on about our water. We have no other comments from the public, so we move on to our consent agenda. All matters listed here are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. I hope all of our council has had a chance to review the consent agenda. And are there any items that would like to be pulled and discussed?
Vice Mayor, I'd like to pull item Q.
Item Q. Okay, Councilwoman Samily.
Vice Mayor, I'd like to pull item P, as in Paul.
P and Q. Okay. Any others? Okay. As far as the consent agenda, all those who would approve items A through O, with the exception of P and Q, and then on to R through V. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. This is Jen.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any disapprove? Okay. Then, starting with item P, Mayor Miles.
Can I just interrupt real briefly? Sorry, Vice Mayor, could you just read the intro to what that is?
Oh, I'm
and then
sorry, I
have-
will, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Thank you. I just started to read it and you couldn't hear me because I just took myself off mute. Go ahead.
Okay, I will read that. Item P on our consent agenda, electric vehicle experience design concept. This item is for consideration and approval of a design concept report, DCR, for the electric vehicle experience building. This project will be phase 1 of designing the electric vehicle experience. This includes displays, interactive components, and overall layout, and staff recommends approval. Okay. Mayor Miles, do you
Vice
have a
Mayor.
comment, or do you want to let Jack? Jack has come up to the podium.
Hi, Jack.
Good evening, Mayor.
Really, I just pulled this out because, one, I'd like to highlight that progress is being made to our constituents, that they know that we're making progress on this great facility. But I did have a couple of questions. When I read the list of the scope of work, and it lists the office for the ED team, the economic development team, I'm just wondering if we're planning to put all of the team in that facility, or just the part associated with tourism and maybe downtown.
So good question, Mayor. I'll actually tackle that. So that
Okay.
we are in need of the team being together for coordination. So the effort will be to bring the ED team together in one spot.
Okay. Okay, so even that's going to include the industrial park manager, Bennett, and
That-
Sylvia, and Josh, and Gary, all of them?
Actually, it will be Sylvia, it will be Gary, and it will be Bennett. And depending on how the tourism lays out, Josh has his team at the Powerhouse. Obviously, this will be part of his team. So where he ultimately keeps his office has not been decided yet. We will look at that. We're going to need office space for the for the experience team as well. So it'll just be coordination, and Josh will land where he thinks he can best lead his people from. So that last piece of tourism hasn't been
Okay.
decided yet.
Okay, I just wanted to understand the scope of that, if it did include the whole team. Also, on the exterior design, it mentions a small pocket park and a potential shade canopy. Could you tell us a little bit more about the pocket park and what that is?
Sure. So good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. This actually is a high-level look at what we want for the EV experience. So part of the designs team dilemma in trying to deliver us a scope and fee was we aren't able to exactly nail down what the overall theme of the building is going to be. And mainly because we got a qualified team in that can help us through that. They have a lot of experience in displays and museums. And so this project is actually going to help us refine that vision for the experience and the building and all the components that work into that. And then we'll move into final design. But this is the first step to narrowing down the final design and the scope and fee for that.
Okay. Well, specifically, I really am trying to understand what the pocket park is.
That was something that, yeah, I understand. So that's something they had in their proposal as potentials. But again, this is something that, as a stakeholders group, the city and the stakeholders list that Josh and Gary have put together, we'll look at it in refining what the scope is. You know, we'll kind of, how to best put it. So we'll do a real basic layout for the site plan, the building, you know, what the overall experience is going to be, and then they'll design to that. So if a pocket park is desired, then that'll be included in there. But again, that's part of the DCR is deciding what the overall look and operation of the facility will be.
Okay.
In other
all right,
words,
and then-
Mayor, it may work or it may not work.
Okay.
We will have to do some analysis on that.
Okay, and then the potential shade canopy. I just think if you're gonna make a nice place for people to sit, especially, you know, it's a large parking area, but if you're gonna do that, shade would be lovely.
Yeah, so
we
the
can afford it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the shade was also something that was looked at. You know, if you're going to have an EV museum, there may be a desire to have some type of photovoltaic, but more so it was we have much more in many more vehicles and we have space to display. And so it'll most likely rotate the display, but that'll also give us an outside area for vehicles that can actually be displayed outside to not be getting torn up by our desert sun.
Okay, thank you. That really answers my questions. And I'm really glad that we're moving ahead with the concept piece. So at this point, I would make a motion that we approve item P on the consent agenda.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that.
I'll hang out because I think
And
mine's the next one too.
You're up for the next one
Yeah.
also, possibly. Okay, I think you are. Then, yes, Councilwoman Samley.
Did you want to read the?
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get this down yet. Traffic operations analysis. This item is for consideration and approval of a traffic operations analysis. This analysis will cover multiple areas within the city limits. Each of the areas have been evaluated by the Traffic Safety Committee and were recommended for additional review by a traffic engineer. This project will include portions of Wallapai Mountain Road, Harrison, Keno, and Stockton Hill Road. The analysis will provide possible recommendations to improve existing conditions, and staff recommends approval. Jack, again. Oh, actually, Councilwoman Sample, you have comments first.
I do. The reason I pulled this was just for clarification. I feel like it's very important. I get asked a lot of questions about traffic very often from my constituents. So I just wanted to you to give us some more in-depth description of what's going to be going on and what the after plan is after this is done, and what specific areas you guys are going to be looking into, and for what reasons.
Okay, perfect. So the first one is Wallapai Mountain Road. We're going to look at the entire corridor from Mission Railroad all the way up to Central. And so throughout this, we've done traffic counts, we've done some pedestrian counts, but there'll be additional that'll be done because we've added some new areas and we're having them go back and evaluate those traffic counts and those pedestrian counts in other areas. So there was a concern for pedestrian traffic specifically on Wallapai Mountain Road. But as busy as that road is and as much as much development that is occurring on that side of town, we're going to look at all those intersections. And so the traffic engineer will look at the warrants, be it for signals or other countermeasures or some type of traffic control devices in that entire corridor and make recommendations based on those. So then at that point, it's up to us to be able to make those actionable items and enact those. We got a couple areas on Harrison that we've had multiple requests on. The Traffic Safety Committee has looked at them a couple of times. We've done pedestrian counts, but again, we felt it was time. We've seen them back a number of times that we wanted to bring a traffic engineer across, and that was for pedestrian crossings. We've had multiple requests for mid-block crossings, and we really don't want to just go slap down a crosswalk in the middle of a block and hope for the best. So there are some warrants and things that would trigger that requirement, and so the pedestrian counts are done, and they're going to be evaluating that. That is in 3 locations. One is south of I-40, adjacent to the Tivoli Heights Apartments, and then the next one is north of I-40 on Harrison at the right at Centennial Park by the pool. I can't remember the name of those apartments. And then we have one that's on Willow, actually. And that one's at the trail crossing for the Mojave Wash Trail crossing by the Wallach Park. And we're going to look at the other 2 locations that the trail crosses at Morrow and at Keno also. And then that also includes the intersection of Wallapai and Stockton Hill, standalone from the rest of the corridor. A while back, we did a time of day plan trying to improve the traffic flow in that area, and some conditions have changed downtown in regard to school start times and other things. And so we're going to have them take a look at that area and see if we can get an improved timing plan or if there are other physical changes we can make to the intersection to improve it. If you guys have been through there, 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, headed westbound on Wallapai Mountain Road, it gets pretty busy at the intersection. So that's what that one's going to look like. And the last one is Airway and Stockton Hill. There was a HSIP project that went in there and did some improvements, some countermeasures that were based on the accidents that are occurring in that area. And it's changed the operation of that based on being protected only left turns. And so again, we're going to look at the timing. That may affect the entire coordination corridor because everything from Gordon to Detroit's actually in coordination. And so we want to see if there's anything, either timing or physical improvements that we can do to improve that. As far as action items moving forward, obviously if it requires something that is budgeted, we'll go through the budgeting process. If it's just timing plans and minimal things that we can enact in the cabinet, we'll take care of those right away. And then anything else, we'll go through the budgeting process if we don't have enough funds to cover it.
So we're having growing pains.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We are.
Well, and mainly I just wanted clarification for the public that, yes, we know we're growing. I mean, we're obviously seeing it. Wallapai Mountain Road's become the new speedway in the morning. And you get stuck at that light going to downtown and you just might as well stop for coffee before.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the clarification. I wanted the public to know that we're moving forward with that. We recognize that there are some concerns with not only pedestrian traffic and also vehicle traffic. So
yeah.
I appreciate that.
So these, just to give you guys a heads up, these are point-specific locations in addressing specific items with specific countermeasures. And a much broader scale, in the very near future, we'll be back we've already done a kickoff for our transportation master plan. And so we'll be providing you guys a presentation on what that's going to consist of as well. And that'll take care of a much broader view of the system.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing that as well. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jack, actually, I apologize for not introducing you, being from Public Works. Jack Planty from Public Works. Anyway, question I've got, you talked about crosswalks on Harrison and then up on Willow. Are we talking just basically putting lines on the ground, or are we talking maybe putting signals? I mean, for example, down in Bullhead, they have a crosswalk and it goes, or like we have downtown by the.
Hawk
by the
signal?
Yes.
Yeah, so it depends. And that's what we're having the traffic engineer look at.
Okay.
Is they'll go through and they'll make an engineering judgment based on the traffic counts, the pedestrian counts, visibility, the speeds of the vehicles in there, be it the posted or the 85th, which, 85% are actually doing. So that's what this will determine, is what the minimum level that we would want to see in that location, whether it's going to be a full hawk signal or some type of, articulated beacon system like they have in Flagstaff, if you've ever been up there. That's what this will establish.
Okay. Any other questions from council? Okay.
Mayor, I have one. Vice
Yes.
Mayor, I have one.
Councilwoman Nelson.
Thank you. Hey, Jack, I guess that this is just meant to have it on writing or in writing for the citizens. This is not, or does not have anything to do with Eastern and the correction that we're working toward on Eastern, correct?
No, it does not.
All right. And I know that we know that, but sometimes it's best that we say that again out there so everybody hears that.
Yeah,
And
that
we are
one,
working towards something on Eastern, correct?
we are. We've
All right.
actually been awarded a grant, and that is coming in the near future. So I know Eric and Phil's team have been very busy on that process itself.
Excellent. Thank you.
Actually, thanks for that quick update
Yeah.
on that. Great. Okay, Councilwoman Samley, would you like to make a motion?
I would. I'd like to make a motion to approve item Q.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of item Q on the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. We have no old business on our agenda. We have number 5, then new business. Resolution number 5396, Intergovernmental Agreement, IGA, for the Kingman Crossing Interchange. The city has been in negotiations with the Arizona Department of Transportation regarding the Kingman Crossing Traffic Interchange. The attached intergovernmental agreement defines the responsibilities for both the city and Arizona Department of Transportation regarding the design and construction of the project. Approval of the IGA will allow the Arizona Department ADOT to begin review of the construction plans and keep the project moving forward. Staff recommends approval. Manager Fogg, I think this is yours.
Well, it kind of is, something we've been working on a lot. So this is something that I believe the council would have seen or remember from the Rancho Santa Fe traffic interchange. This really is clarifying who's responsible for what on the care and maintenance and ongoing capital requirements of the traffic interchange. And in order for ADOT to agree to move forward on plan review, and this agreement has to be in place. And so as Kingman Crossing Design, the engineering firm that is working on the design, is ready to submit 30% plans to ADOT. ADOT wants this agreement before they review the plans. So this is actually kind of standing in the way of them getting plans reviewed. So it's pretty standard. It just really establishes when if the when the signal light goes out, who's responsible? Power for lights and street lights and all that is established in this agreement. So pretty standard. ADOT requires it. We actually appreciate it because it takes kind of the guesswork out of who's responsible and who's not. And so we are recommending the council approve this.
Thank you. Actually, I like the graphics that are on this, and of course, anybody, as far as members of the public can go online and look at this and review what this IGA is about, and it actually gives good drawings of how that interchange is going to be laid out. I know all of us, as far as council members, have a number of people asking us, when is Kingman Crossing going to happen? What's it going to look like? And this is lays out a lot of that.
Yeah, and again, the the plans moving forward, I know that the developer and KRMC are very anxious to have this move through the process. They still have a goal to have this design 100% complete by the end of this year. So not only are they going to see progress there, but progress maybe in the near future as far as moving dirt and actually working on the project. So
That is all good news. This is great things for Kingman. So we need a motion then for resolution number 5396.
Let's not hold this up any longer. I make a motion that we approve resolution number 5396.
Thank you, Councilwoman Mello. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you for the second. All those in favor of resolution number 5396, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we are moving forward. Motion carries. Thank you, Manager Foggin. Item number 6 on our agenda, department reports, and we will turn that over to our Chief of Police.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Mayor, council members, I appreciate the opportunity to provide some highlights, perhaps, and some context into the information that's presented in the annual report. I presented a hard copy to you all about a month ago, maybe a little longer, and I believe there's a PDF copy with some corrected numbers in there for you. But I do appreciate the opportunity to talk to you that. So last year in 2021, we had over 35,000 calls. And that was about a little less than 1.5% increase from the previous year. But what I think is most notable is that there was a significant increase in calls for service that involved violence, potential violence, or aggressive offenders. And you can kind of see that in the increase of our homicides, sexual assaults, aggravated assaults, and our robberies. And what a robbery is when force is used when there's a theft that's committed or the display of a weapon. So concurrently, we saw an increase in our use of force incidents. They increased by about 38%. I wanted to point out that a use of force by any of my officers includes the threatened use of force or the actual force used in a situation. There was an increase. We did see an increase in police contact with subjects suffering from mental illness or mental crisis. It could be attributed to drugs, alcohol, or mental illness, or a combination of such. But we also saw an increase in contacts with vagrants as well, and we saw that same thing through that. So we saw an increase in calls for service that require 2 officers or more to respond. It was kind of the norm in 2021, and it's been kind of a trend over the past several years where at least 2 officers are responding or more to a call, whereas, say, 10 years ago, 2 officers could respond to a situation. Now, because of the change in the demographic of offenders, 2, 3, sometimes 4 officers are required to go and handle the situation safely. So it's a trend. Again, the demographics of offenders has changed over the last couple of years, and it was really prevalent over the last 2 years. And I can attribute that anecdotally to the pandemic, the stressors in society. We are seeing it change the people. They are becoming more aggressive more often and non-compliant more often. So 2021, we operated at a staff deficiency of about 8 officers, which affected all the bureaus. Some of the decline in service over the 5 years, if you saw those statistics, in part can be attributed to staffing concerns. Officers are very much encouraged to be proactive and do traffic stops as time allows, and that did impact that as well. So, but I share these highlights not to tell you the bad news necessarily, but it's just to maybe make you aware that we are very much aware, and we have made adjustments, and there's things we had been doing prior to, procedures, policies in place that have helped us be successful in 2021, but also coming into this year. But there is a lot of good news. Halfway through the year, we restructured the department a little bit to provide better oversight, accountability, and maintain our professional standards. Prior to, on the operations side of the house, there was a lot of responsibility for that commander, and it was a little light on the other side. So we did do some rearranging, and it's provided just the span of controls more effective. We can ensure things are happening and things that are going on. It's just kind of quality assurance. and that's what we're looking for. The Special Investigations Bureau, which commonly referred to our detective section, general assignment, they accomplished a successful clearance rate of 74%, and they operated most of last year with 3 detectives, and the normal complement is generally 6 under ideal situations, so I was very proud of that. Our DUI arrests were up 55%, something I'm very proud of. Our citations increased 16%, and the issuing of written warnings increased 21%. And I want to make sure I specify, I don't have a quota. We don't have a quota. But when I see those increases, to me, that's what I do have is an expectation of proactivity. And that's what that shows me. They're out there locating offenders, traffic violators, as well as DUI offenders. I can't say that there's an increase in DUI drivers, but I do know my team has been aggressive in pursuing them. And some of the training that we receive is increased DUI training, so they can learn better to be more confident in locating and processing DUI drivers. So, Neighborhood Services had a 90% voluntary compliance rate. Their goal is to get a 100% voluntary compliance rate. I feel it's important that that doesn't mean that 90% of all the violations in the city have been taken care of. That means that at least 90% of the cases that they were assigned were taken care of voluntarily, and that's kind of our goal there. We did increase our officer training last year, and we continue to do that. Some of that training included de-escalation, less lethal munitions, and less lethal hand tactics. And those are things that we've been working on for several years. There's other agencies across the nation that are getting caught up with their de-escalation techniques and the different things. So I'm proud of the work that my team has done, is continuing to do. We had prevention of bias-based policing. Of course, defensive tactics is always something we keep up on, as well as DUI enforcement. Something for me I like to point out is the training requirements for us have increased because of legislative changes, as well as changes in the state support of us. Arizona Post is who certifies officers. They've changed what training they provide, so we've had to take on some of that ourselves. We did develop an enhanced officer wellness program that has been successful. We went live with a new record management system, which we were very appreciative of. The council approved that, I think, a couple sessions ago, and we're finally seeing it, and we're getting up to speed on that. It's very user-friendly, it's efficient, and I'm hoping, have high expectations for more efficient, accurate statistical data that I'm looking forward to. After a 2-year hiatus, we held a junior police academy because of COVID and a few other things. We had one last year, and I'm proud to say we're going to do another academy coming up in a few months. We developed and went live with the public safety drone program. Not to be confused with the fire department's drone program. This one's something that we're excited about as well. It allows some tactical advantage, and we can deliver this drone into a home for tactical and officer safety. So I'm very proud of that. We've used it several times already. And I'm very proud of my recruitment team. They've been working nonstop. This is double duty for most of them. They're doing this in addition to everything else. But it's been nonstop for them to try to attract and select qualified applicants. Last year, they were able to recruit and hire police officers, so new recruit officers, lateral police officers, which we're in the process of onboarding 3 lateral officers from other parts of the country. We have high hopes that that's going to be successful. Neighborhood service officers were hired, an evidence technician, administrative secretary, administrative assistants, and an administrative background investigator. And that team continues to work tirelessly to recruit qualified and capable applicants that can pass the background requirements for law enforcement, and it's just something that's increasingly competitive to recruit and retain. So I'm very proud of the work that they're doing. So in closing, I'm approaching my 2nd year as the police chief, and I can't be more proud of my team. They've been a huge support for me, and they've gotten us through some difficult times over the last couple of years, not just changes in leadership, but changes in society and the community and things that were going on, but they continue to perform admirably, especially when the circumstances were less than ideal. And their resiliency and pursuit of excellence is something that's very impressive to me, and I appreciate them. So our report is available for your constituents and those in the community. It's available online at kingmanpolice.com. On the left side of the page, if you click on reports and downloads, you can find all of our annual reports, and it's the first one at the top, 2021. And I would also encourage you to review. I would welcome any suggestions or information perhaps that isn't in there that you would like or anybody in the community would like, it's kind of a living document. So again, I'm proud of my team for putting it together. So any questions, comments?
Thank you, Chief. We are proud of your team, too. We're proud of you and our police department and the great job that you do. I did notice on calls for service, we actually are down from 2017. That was a high, at least for on your report, that was a high year. And that we like that trend going down. That's
We like the
great.
trend going down. So I like to just to point out, though, I can't say that it's because crime is down, because if you look at the
Yes.
crime stats, they're a little more subtle, the changes. And so a lot of it I can attribute to the officer activity. You know, there's been reasons why they can't be proactive because they're busy with other things. So I feel it's important to point that out.
Great. Comments from council?
Were you trying to find some positive stuff?
Oh, this is all, well, no, this is all good stuff. I am so proud of our police force. And of course, my office is right next door to theirs, so I'm slanted anyway. I'm going to be in
You're
favor.
a great neighbor. I'll say.
I'm
We're-
thankful.
Anyway,
I'm thankful for all you do and your guys and girls and your staff as well, Rusty. And I'm excited about Junior Police Academy. That's some good news. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Vice Mayor.
yes.
I,
Councilwoman Sanders.
I too echo those comments. I feel that a safe community is something that people are looking for when they're looking to move and relocate to a community. And I feel you hold your standards very high. And I don't think that you talk about your app much. And so I love the app, and I think more people need to know about it just for the push notifications alone. So could you talk a little bit about the app and what all is entailed
So
for
I
our
do-
millennial generation?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. We're working on making that app match up with our new record management system because there's a crime mapping piece that I really want to work. And if you go to the last page of our annual report, it talks about our social media, and there's a QR code on there that if anybody was to scan that with their phone, it'll take you to our KPD app. It's free, and what that app allows us to do, we have some basic information that you can access on there. Or resources. I have a chief's welcome, but it also allows us to send push notifications to those that sign up for it. So if there's we use it for critical incidents or things that are going on immediately, and we send it out to those that have downloaded it and activated the push part, we can send the notifications. And you referenced it at one of our meetings, because we'll say to avoid an area if something's happening. It also provides information to the community, because most people just want to know what's going on. So instead of driving over there, at least they kind of have an idea what's going on, and hopefully they'll avoid it. And there's other things like that. Missing persons, missing children. If there's an active, aggressive offender on the run, similar to what happened last Friday in the area of the college. You know, that was in the county, so it was a little different, but it would have been used for that. So it's something that's very popular. So thank you for bringing it up.
Absolutely. I enjoy it. Thank you.
It's great stuff. Council members that are participating via Zoom, any comments? Okay.
Just to add my thank yous to Chief Cooper and to the whole team. I'm reminded that in our citizen survey, I think it was in the citizen survey where people felt safe in their neighborhoods. That's a high praise, really, for our police department and for the fire department too. But just to know that people feel safe in their homes is a reflection, really, on the wonderful work that you do, Chief Cooper, and that your team does. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, anyone else? Hearing none, let's move on to item number 7 on our agenda, announcements by mayor, council members, and city manager. Manager Foggin.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I only have a couple things for you tonight. The first is the quarterly Tri-City Council meeting is April 20th. That is a Wednesday at its usual time of 10 a.m. We will be hosting it here in Kingman this quarter, and we will be in these chambers for that. So get that on your calendar. It's usually a very informative meeting. And then I just wanted to let you know, the discussion about the electric car experience continues to get better and better. And I just wanted to let you know that we had a Tesla Roadster donated to the collection and should be on display at the Powerhouse in the next couple of weeks. And so the collection just keeps getting cooler and cooler. And, you know, I don't know if those cars come with keys, but I'd love to get my hands on it. Other than that, that's all the announcements I have.
Thank you, Manager Foggin. Councilwoman Samley.
None this evening, thanks.
Okay. Councilwoman Mello.
Vice Mayor and I attended the Kingman Fire Department pinning ceremony, and you did a really great job, Chief Yeager, and we really appreciate you and your staff, all you do. Thank you.
Councilwoman Staley.
I have nothing else to add this evening.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nelson.
I have nothing to add either. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilman Walker.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thanks. As Councilwoman Mello, I'll let her finish up. We were able to attend the pinning, the fire department pinning, and as we saw advancement in all categories, all levels of our fire department, and once again, we are proud of our fire department as we are proud of our police department and all of our first responders and all that they do for helping our quality of life here in Kingman be great, and we appreciate that.
Vice Mayor, I probably should clarify, when we say pinning, we mean the badge pinning.
Well, true, badge pinning, advancement, yes. So it was all really good stuff, and that was last Friday evening, and anyway, we were glad to be invited. Mayor Miles.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just want to give a shout out to everyone who attended the strategic planning meeting. Was it last week? Anyway, it was really so productive, and you know, we do this annually, but it's so important to reinforce the city's strategic priorities and goals, and I thought that it went so well, and everyone here and all the staff participation in a day like that is so important. So thank you, Manager Foggin, for continuing to make that a priority for all of us to get together and discuss that. And pardon me, I would mention, it's a little bit it's about me, but I did receive last Friday the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame Copper Star Award for service to veterans. And I was not able to attend in person, and Pat Farrell actually received the award on my behalf, but I was able to do a video which they showed, actually 2 videos. And while I received it as an individual, we all know that things like that reflect the whole community. And so I want to make sure that, including the city of Kingman, especially as mayor, this has been kind of a platform where I could participate in a lot of things, a lot of initiatives, or champion them, but it reflects everyone that's involved, and including our work with the JAVC on the grant that they received for Operation 6, and just so many things, partnerships, and our Veterans Court. And Judge Singer was kind of a part of this too, but and I gave certainly shout outs to him and Pat Farrell and JAVC and the city. So I just wanted to share that because I really think everyone here knows that our community truly supports veterans, and I was just very honored and humbled to receive an award, and I feel like it is on behalf of all of us. So that's my information or my announcement for tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Miles. Moving on our agenda, item number 8, council request for future reports and updates. Do any council members have anything they would like to bring forward? Okay, hearing none, I would like to have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you.